Hello everyone, welcome to my table, and today we're talking about some D&D homebrew I made for my character Darkness&Dragons, as well as I made a monster from a song I remembered from when I was younger. Normally on my other channel I do commentaries, but here I hang up my scarf and my peacoat, and I come to chill with my hobbies, such as the D&D. What? You can have hobbies too, okay? This channel was previously my Let's Play channel, and I'm sorry if some of you came for that, but I think this is what I want to do moving forward. So if you like this content, feel free to stick around and sub if you feel so inclined. We shall now begin. Now this D&D homebrew is based on the lore of my character Darkness&Dragons, who is the Master of Darkness, the universe he inhabits. It has given him strange powers that have made him universally strong. To put it in terms you would recognize, he would be able to beat Dragon Ball Z Goku, but not Dragon Ball Super Goku with Super Saiyan God. And with him being that powerful, he can also be your warlock patron. You ended up in the domain of darkness, and met a man who controls it all. He could see many realities, and has offered you some of his power. Darkness&Dragons is a neutral good being, and is rather peaceful, even though in battle he is rarely bested. Many are caught by him on their fall through pain, but few gain his friendship and camaraderie. That is the open paragraph for you. But this warlock patron actually gives you some spells you can add to your repertoire, having to do with his powers and his universal perception, with things like cure wounds and detect thoughts. At first level, you gain some basics of those who've been given powers by Darkness&Dragons. You gain dark vision if you haven't already have it, and it goes up to 360 feet, much more than average, and it allows you to see through magical darkness. And because of him being a commentator and he prefers to use his words, you also gain the Vicious Mockery cantrip if you don't already have it. Facts and logic, take 1d4 psychic damage, bitch! At 6th level, Darkness&Dragons has gained more trust in you and your actions, and you gain more Cheerios to your bowl. With this, you can open up portals to the darkness and have either your allies go through them, or use them to traverse the battlefield, or to fuck with your enemies. You open one within 30 feet of you, and the second one within 60 feet. If you choose to shove an enemy into this portal to make them fall or bring them within an ally's range, they have to do a saving throw against your Warlock spell save DC. Fall damage is kind of diminished to make sure it's not too overpowered, but I think it's a good balance. You can summon and dismiss the portal as a bonus action, and it'll last for a minute until dismissed. You also regain this ability on a short rest, which I think is pretty neat. More Warlock shenanigans. At 10th level, you get to add some chocolatey milk to drink with your cereal. I want Cheerios, if you can tell by this analogy. You become immune to being frightened or charmed, if you are not already, and yes, I'm talking to you, elves. Unlike elves, however, if someone tries to do so, they will take damage for trying. Don't fuck with my brain or else you're going to get stabbed. That's not all what waits for you in this level, however. You get a special form with help from the darkness itself. A small super state. Attacks against you have disadvantage as long as they don't have true sight, as a dark energy forms around you to make your form unfamiliar and hard to keep track of. While in this state, you get a +5 to stealth and a +2 to attack rolls. But once you take any damage, the state stops. It's kind of like a glass shield, because if it lasted the whole minute in combat with no way to stop it, that would be way too strong. I would say this would be best to gain a surprise round by attacking from a hidden position or keep hiding. Imagine the first part of this ability as kind of like a cloak of displacement. At 14th level, Darkness&Dragons is willing to lend you a hand in battle. Once per long rest, he will cast a spell for you, and you have to roll a d6 to find out which spell. The spells are of high level, and as a warlock you can't normally cast these spells. Each one has something to do with his powers. Until you reach 18th level, however, you have a chance of falling to 0 HP when the spell is cast, as you cannot properly handle Dark's powers. But once you reach 18th level, you no longer have to worry about that. Now with this patron, there are some added Eldritch evocations. This has been added to add some more worth to this patron, and allow you to have some more options while using the Vicious Mockery cantrip. Because you got it, you might as well do something good with it. With Calming Darkness once for a short rest, you can take a round in combat to calm yourself down and end a condition applied to you. Example being frightened, blind, or poisoned, which is really useful because conditions such as those are really hard to get rid of. The next one is Dark Scarf, where you summon Dark Scarf with your Eldritch Blast cantrip. This can limit a foe's mobility and keep someone where you want them. The good thing about this is, and you didn't hear this from me, it doesn't have a size limit. So you got a Flump, grab, a Giant, grab, a Tarrasque, grab. Then you get 2 evocations that allow you to have some more options with your Vicious Mockery cantrip. Kind Word heals your allies, while Logical Fallacy does more damage the higher the level you are. Point out flaws and hurt them more. Lastly, there is Darkness Harmony, which allows you to summon Angel Wings to fly at 7th level, with your flying speed doubling within no light. One thing you also get in this one is the Dark Ones race. And yes, this has to do with the AU that my fans made. So I thought, why not add it in to pay a little homage to my fans? The Dark Ones are very similar to whatever race they are before. The art here is from Tommy and Alabaster Lizzo. The Dark Ones. The Dark Ones are humanoids who have been exposed to the plane of darkness for a long period of time, giving them special effects and powers. These ones can be of any race and have been looked after by the King of Darkness, King Stone. People end up in the darkness when they face extreme depression or seek to end their existence. They are then talked down by King Stone or his knights and bishops. Once they are talked down, they can choose to go back to their universe or stay in the darkness and become a Dark One. Over time, their body begins to adapt to the darkness, becoming part of it. Now, this is the lore I have down. I did not make this AU, so this is my own interpretation. So, Tommy, if I do something stupid, please tell me. The Dark Ones' names and traits are kind of unique. The names of Dark Ones are the names of the creature type you were before you entered the darkness. So if you were a human, you would have a humanoid name, or if you were a tiefling, you would have a tiefling name. Darkness 1 traits, just so you are aware, you cannot get 2 race traits. So you either have, let's say you are a green tiefling who became a Dark One. So you need to either choose between the green tiefling traits, or you can have to choose the Dark One traits. You cannot choose both. Your ability score increases your wisdom by about 2, and 2 other ability scores go up by 1. Instead of 2 other ability scores, however, you could choose to take a feat instead. I made this so that, in case you want to play a race that is not as versatile as you want, you can instead have the feat, because I know lots of people play humans to get that added feat. Age. While outside of the darkness, creatures will age normally, but while in the darkness, their age slows, allowing those with lesser lifespans to live hundreds of years. Like a turtle could live hundreds, even more than 1,000 years in the darkness. Now, the alignments, they tend to be on the good spectrum because of King Dark's teaching and caring to look out for others. Kindness is the norm in their society, but those who can be kind can also be chaotic. To enter the darkness, one entered through a bad mental state, so that still may linger. The people have a high rate of depression and suicidal intent when they first enter, and some of those feelings still might be there. This is because depression never really goes away, and neither does the trauma that brought them there. Now, your size and speed depend on your original race. Like, if you were a halfling before, you're still going to have 25 feet of movement speed, but if you were like a dragonborn, you'd still have 30 feet. Well, your size also doesn't change. If you're a minotaur, you're still going to be large. If you're a halfling, you're still going to be a small. You, however, have superior dark vision. Because of your time in the darkness, you have exceptional night vision. Dark vision reaches out to 180 feet, a little bit more than the drow. However, you still have the sunlight sensitivity feature. Disadvantage on attack rolls and perception checks when they rely on sight, when you or the target you attack are perceived in direct sunlight. Then, you also get Dark Magic. At 5th level, you can cast Darkness once per day without expending a spell slot. Your Charisma is your spellcasting modifier for the spell, so you have some of the aspects of the Drow, or Dark Elves, into this race, because they both live in darkness. You also gain Dark Power. Once in darkness for long enough, each person gains some sort of strange power. These comes in many shapes and forms, and they can be all sorts of weird things, and if you want to make a homebrew one, just speak with your DM. I'm sure they would understand. On the most common ones you can roll on this table, which are Minor Regeneration, Dark Push, Resistant Flesh, Tendril, Vanish, and Minor Telepathy. These ones are pretty easy to read, so if you want to look at a few, you can. My favorite is Resistant Flesh or Minor Regeneration, but the Tendril is really fun. And if you're a rogue, Vanish is the way you want to go. This also gives some more about the darkness about the ranking system. In the Darkness, King Stone has given ranks to his subjects to help him organize and give jobs to the population. Bishops are like his most loyal allies, knights are his personal friends and those he trusts, rooks are guards to the kingdom, and pawns are labeled as the common people. Up next is Darkness spells. And yes, these are spells that are similar to Darkness's powers and stuff you guys might see in the future. It's labeled for one who controls his magic is now your own, which symbolizes that he has a lot of power and he's willing to share. Now, I'm going to say that these dark spells are not only for warlocks. I would like to say that any spellcasting class can use them. And yes, and I mean any, wizards, artificers, whatever you need, I believe that every one of them should be able to cast these spells, if they can get to that spell level. First level is Aspiration. It's a first level dark spell. It costs 1 action to cast, range 30 feet, and only has verbal, and it lasts for 8 hours. It's somewhat like giving someone inspiration. Your sheer determination to complete a task in front of you is given to your comrades as well. 3 creatures within 30 feet of you, they gain advantage on one roll of their choice within an 8-hour period. This can be any saving throw, an attack, or anything else. So I suggest if you're in a higher level party, save this for when you guys are going up against the Lich. Dark Protection is a cantrip. It's a bonus action and it's a touch range, and it lasts for a minute. A small amount of dark energy forms around you and you give it to an ally. When they have this spell on them, the first attack against them gains disadvantage, and the spell can only be cast on the same person 3 times in one day. Also, this effect cannot stack, so you can't just touch someone 3 times at once. That's not how it works. Ice Blast is a first level spell that kind of goes higher up as you go up in spell level. You need some cups of water, it's about an action, and it's pretty much a beam of ice that goes up for 60 feet. They take cold damage and your speed is down by about 5 feet. And at higher levels, it gets stronger, the damage, but the slowdown doesn't change. Then there's Lightning Blast, another first level spell. Very similar to Ice Blast, except it does lightning damage. And the saving throw, the movement speed is set to 0 until the start of your next turn. Phantom Scarf is a second level dark spell. It is basically a phantom scarf that coils around your neck, acting as your weapon, so you're basically using a phantom version of Darkstone's scarf. It acts as your weapon, doing 2d6 slashing damage, but you must use both your arms to control it. If someone tries to attack one of the arms, its AC is 15, and it has 25 HP. Once one of the arms is destroyed, the spell is dismissed. You can also dismiss the spell as a bonus action, and it actually gets stronger the higher level you cast it. Then there's Planetoid Cast. This is an 8th level spell. You use the darkness to bend reality, crushing your enemies. Every creature of your choice within 400 feet must make a DC 24 dexterity saving throw or be caught in the spell. The ground, trees, rocks, and whatever else is raised and put in the air, and you condense it into a small moon-shaped ball. Imagine using planetary destruction like Sasuke does in Naruto, but on a much smaller scale. The ball is about 100 feet by 100 feet, and it falls in the hole of the ground it came out of. Those caught in the spell will take 12d10 force damage, and are crushed into this orb of earth. They need to either dig themselves out, or after 8 hours they will die from lack of oxygen if they need it. And this ball is extremely dense, it weighs over 30 million pounds, and has a smooth exterior, so if that falls on you, you better pray. Then there's Stone's Platform, a 6th level spell this time. It costs 1 action, and it requires a piece of black cloth to cast, and it's a concentration spell. I believe that's the only concentration spell on this list. Basically, a small portal opens, and it acts as kind of like a gravity well, where people get pulled into it and start taking slashing damage. So imagine you are being pulled into a gravitized blender, so people need to make saves not to get pushed into it. So you gotta be careful. Tower of Darkness is honestly one of my favorites. It is a 3rd level dark spell, and it costs 1 action and it'll last for an hour. It's like Leomon's Tiny Hut, but a little bit different. A small castle tower of darkness comes around you from nowhere and acts like a barrier. It has a 15-foot radius and is 70 feet tall, and you can control who, what, or where enters. Spells, solid objects, and creatures cannot enter if they're not 4th level or CR 10 or higher. So this is definitely for a lower level group. But when you cast it at higher levels, power gains more HP and it's easier to basically take care of. Then, the ultimate spell, Universe Ripple, 9th level dark. It has a range of 500 feet, casting time is 1 action, and it lasts for 10 minutes. You cause a large ripple in reality, allowing anyone and everyone of your choice within 500 feet to be teleported to the darkness. This realm is far different from most, causing strange effects. This one will basically cause people to make a Constitution saving throw or being paralyzed in fear. And then they have to repeat that on each of their turns. And creatures of your choice can automatically pass the saving throw, so your allies. This place to anyone who sees it is an entire universe with planets and galaxies in the distance. And people of your choice who enter this place must make a DC 18 Sanity saving throw, or gain a level of short-term madness, and they must make the save at the beginning of their turn. A second fail will cause a level of long-term madness, and a third fail will cause a level of indefinite madness. Then start again with short-term, long-term, indefinite until they pass the saving throw. Someone could be completely fucked just by one round of this. When the spell ends, everyone returns to the plane they came from, or the ones you were on before you were brought to the darkness, or you can roll a d20 on the table in the PDF to decide where you end up. And you must choose between them all coming back or going to another plane. You cannot choose individually. So that means if you bring you and your allies in here, you are also going to be either brought back to the reality you came from, or you guys are going to be sent to another. And this has places like the positive and negative plane, which are fun. But there's also things like the Shadowfell, Mount Celestia, or just be sent back to Material Plane. And you can even be stuck in the darkness if you roll a 1 on the die. So there are a lot of ways that this could go bad if you do not properly prepare it. And lastly, I made this little guy. This song got stuck in my head when I was younger, and I recently rediscovered it, and I found the guy, the Lair Voltaire, who made the song. And boy, his voice is amazing. So I made the Brain Meteor stat block. I redrew him, and I think it looks cool. He's a gargantuan monstrosity, and he's chaotic evil. His armor class is 18 because he's literally just a giant stone rock with some gooey bits. He's resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons, and he has true sight out to 120 feet, and a passive perception of 19. And with what I have here, I believe he is a 10 challenge rating. He has a Song of Defense, which means that he can only be damaged when music is playing within 500 feet. So if you want to send your people a challenge, if they don't have a bard, this could be a very challenging fight to find out how to fight it. This Brain Meteor is also immune to stuff as Feeble Mind and other spells that would affect its intelligence. It also has a legendary resistance. It only has 2 of them though. You can attack with its pseudopod or its tentacles, Eye Stalk Slam. The Eye Bite is something I saw from the music video in the show, so I thought I might as well add it as a melee attack. And then Brain Steal. Brain Steal can basically steal a person's brain to become bigger and stronger. The target of this attack must make a DC 13 dexterity check to avoid being grappled. Once grappled, the creature must make a DC 15 intelligence saving throw or a DC 15 strength saving throw to resist the creature or get out of its grapple respectively. If it fails both checks, its brain is sucked out and is consumed by the Brain Meteor. To consume the Brain Meteor must take a full turn to have the brain travel from the pseudopod to its main mass. If the brain is intercepted, the Revivify spell can return the brain to its rightful place. The tentacle has an AC of 14 and 15 HP. Once the brain is consumed, it can only be brought back through a wish spell. The Brain Meteor gets that creature's HP. The creature then becomes a zombie under the Brain Meteor's control, based on what I saw on the show. So that was the first episode of Scarf's Sanctum. I hope you guys did enjoy this little homebrew charade that I made. I plan to make more. The next episode I have planned is Slime Rancher. So I hope you guys are excited for that. I hope you guys subscribe, and I hope to hear from you soon. Now I'm going to go have some tea and go pet my bunger. I'll talk to you all later. Remember the roll.